When we think of Islam, we think of a faith that brings comfort to 1 billion people around the world. Billions of people find comfort and solace and peace. And that's made brothers and sisters out of every race. Out of every race. America counts millions of Muslims amongst our citizens. And Muslims make an incredibly valuable contribution to our country.
How do we go from this to this?
Exile, it takes your mind again. Exile, it takes your mind again.
But in the interest of full disclosure, I have to say, I hate Arabs.
Well, that's fine, because I'm not an Arab.
Well, you're all Arabs to me. The blacks, the Jews, those blue tree-hugging queers and Avatar. In fact, anyone from outside of America is technically an Arab. Listen, while you're here, I highly recommend a visit to the Empire State Building before you or one of your sand monkey cousins takes it down.
Ever since September 11th, 2001, there's been a looming fear of terrorism in America, and Muslims have been the scapegoat of this fear. This growing fear has been elevated in recent times due to debates of Muslim immigration and refugees from corrupt states in the Middle East. These feelings are defined under a single term that strikes fear in our neighbors, friends, and family, a major problem for our society: Islamophobia.
In 1995, there were 112,000 refugees arriving in the U.S. yearly. This number had dropped to 27,000 by 2002. This is a direct result of efforts taken by post-9/11 from fear of the dangers caused by Muslim immigrants.
Recent events in the Middle East have escalated the unfavorability shown towards Muslims. According to the Brookings Institute of Washington, for a period of time after 9/11, a majority of people saw Muslims in a positive light, but due to recent events in the Middle East and the United States, about 61% of people viewed Muslims unfavorably in 2011.
Recently, the common misconception has been that Muslim extremists are to blame for the majority of terrorism, but that just isn't the case. In fact, according to the FBI database, Muslims carry about 6% of all domestic terrorist attacks since 1980, behind the 42% claimed by Latinos, 24 by extreme left-wing groups, 16 unclaimed by any group, and 7 by Jewish extremists. Going alongside this, more than 39,000 Muslim refugees entered the U.S. in 2015, and that 6% hasn't moved an inch, which begs the question, why are Muslims still feared throughout the country? Zwemmer, a page devoted solely to Muslim studies, says that a few major terrorist attacks, or attempted attacks, are the majority of the average American's knowledge of their religion. When asked about Islam in a study in 1993, 62% of people interviewed said they haven't heard enough information to say about Islam to comment. Post 9/11, over half that 62% stated that they had a negative opinion of Islam. Take these opinions from your fellow classmates.
That Islamophobia in any way puts a strain on our society?
I do, because I think it limits the ability of Muslim people to achieve their success in our job market today, as well as in other social circumstances. It really limits their ability to communicate with others as well as other people can.
Do you think there's an active solution for Islamophobia?
That's a tough question. I think just, if I wanted to give the stereotypical answer, it would be like education, definitely, for making sure people know what it relates to, especially when we do activities, find out what people go through versus just hearing on the news like we do all the time. There's a big difference between anecdotal and just seeing it.
Would you believe that there are anti-Islam gangs right here in Florida?
Islamic gangs?
Anti-Islamic.
I'm sure there are. Yeah. I'm not sure about anyone here in Pineview or Sarasota, but I'm sure given the state of Florida, there has to be some.
Islamophobia has even affected Muslims that are
at your local mosque.
Yeah, one time we back in Saurav and Saurav. My life. Yeah.
Have you ever been called any racial slurs before for being a Muslim?
Yeah, I've been called Shaggy.
Whatever
Whatever happened to all men are created equal? While many things in the country have changed, this important principle remains stagnant. It is a principle that lets people be individual and their own person. One man should only be valued based on their actions, no matter if it's a king, an African American, a Syrian refugee, or someone living out on the street. Anyone who stockpiles weapons, explosive materials, or bomb building equipment should be under watch by the United States federal government, not just if they're Muslim. Racial profiling has been the cause of so many issues, such as the locking up of Japanese in World War II or African Americans feeling they have been harassed in their own communities and what they call home. These cases show that it is unfair and ineffective. Because of the misconception that any and all terrorist attacks are for the sole purpose of jihad and that all Muslims support it in an extremely violent way, Americans are desecrating mosques and killing Muslims with firebombs and bullets. We are supposed to be fighting Islam. The President of the United States, Barack Obama, says ISIL is not Islamic. Just like Bush, he knows that it is just a perversion of Islam to condone murder of innocent people. This is not true Islam faith, and that is why no one should be afraid or racist towards Muslims.
You gotta film the transitions.
No. Recently, the common misconception has been that Muslim extremists are the brain...
Hey, pretty much,
I'm saying go, not goal.
Whatever happened to... Oh, stop moving.
No comment.
Oh, are you gonna have bloopers?
Yeah, we're...
This should all be on there. When I do like...
Yeah. Have you ever been called any racial slurs before for being a Muslim?
Yeah, I've been